these are the names that the Chief Justice wrote to the President for him to consider them for the appointment as Supreme Court Justices. Her Ladyship Angelina Mensah Homea is currently the Court of Appeal, and a number of them Court of Appeal judges as we speak. And then also you have Justice Efia Serwaa Asare-Botwe, and this name should ring a bell to you because she's a Court of Appeal judge, but now seconded to the Supreme Court and is the judge, the trial judge for this ongoing ambulance case that's ongoing as we speak. And also an additional, in fact, a Court of Appeal judge and an additional High Court judge who is the now being recommended to be appointed to the Supreme Court per this letter. So that's what we're seeing right now. And for the many lawyers who have been speaking about this, they raise questions about unconstitutionality and the fact that this is not right and it's against the ethics and so on. Let's look at Article 144(2) of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and then we'll connect with private legal practitioner Kpebu right now. This is it. Article 144(2) says, the other Supreme Court justices shall be appointed by the President, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council in consultation with the Council of State and with the approval of Parliament. That's the process of appointing Supreme Court justices. Then you go to 153, what talked about this Judicial Council. Private legal practitioner Kpebu is joining us on Zoom. Counsel, appreciate your time. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So, first of all, when you saw this letter that was addressed to the President by the Chief Justice, how did that strike you? Is there a precedence to this?
Not one that I'm aware of. So, when I saw it, I was like, hey, we are going to have midnight judges. When we say midnight judges, it dates back to 1801, the case of Marbury and Madison, where you have the matter of President. So Jackson appointed some people, and then when he was leaving, they didn't get to get the scroll of their offices, their appointment. They didn't get it. And so they couldn't take office. So the reason we say midnight judges is that very, very close to the exit of a president. So in this case, it qualifies. So I was like, hey, this is another case of midnight judges. It didn't look good at all. I mean, this one is not about the competence of the judges. No, far from it. They are very good judges, okay? You would often find not much to fault them. Of course, we are all human beings, so as lawyers, as we go in and out of their courts, we will have a few issues here and there, but that's not what we are discussing now. We all are human beings. If you were to ask about me, people also say there are issues, right? That's not what we are discussing now. But this time, it's all about the timing, the optics. The optics are very bad, very, very bad. President Kufuor is exiting, so he should not be invited into such conversations at all. I mean, the illegality of the letter on one side. Kufuor, who is exiting now, should not be invited into such conversations about appointing more judges. No, that's wrong. Very, very wrong.
I see. Now, even there's also that question raised about the trial judge on this ambulance case that is running, who is part of the 5 names that have been suggested as well. And to the extent that if it has to be considered at all, you would have the Judicial Council also being consulted in that process. You have the Attorney General on the Judicial Council, who is also a subject in this ongoing trial, which this judge is the trial judge on. How does all of these linkages also bring up issues for you?
Yeah, so it just further fuels the suspicions and then lowers the confidence in the judicial system. You know, the trial judge had told the Attorney General not to come near the case anymore, that's to stay away from it. But here is the case, the Attorney General has roundly ignored the trial judge and it's going on with cross-examination. Then now you have a letter where you would see that with this letter seeking to say the trial judge be appointed to the Supreme Court, then it kind of fuels all the suspicions that, oh, what's going on? What's going on? The optics are very bad, very, very bad. No matter how you try to be very objective, it's not possible to justify this thing. So it's just better that we hide this letter somewhere and then we stay focused on the elections, and then we can come back to these matters after the elections.
We're also getting, and I don't know if you followed this, the Judicial Council's position on this matter. Any news about whether they were involved in this process and this Chief Justice only wrote based on the consultation with the Judicial Council members, so she didn't write this letter in her individual capacity, but for and on behalf of the Judicial Council? Do you know about this?
Yeah, well, not personally, but I saw Daily Post today. It's even the front page. So where they put it that the Chief Justice, they rejected this, what do you call it, the invitation to make nominations to the for appointment to the Supreme Court, pursuant to Article 144 Clause 2. So there's a story that says that the Judicial Council shut it down.
They rejected these five
story. Good making it.
They rejected these five persons.
Yes. So the story said let me see. Do I find it here? It said the Judicial Council would not have anything to do with any appointments. I don't specifically remember reading these five. It's been a very tight day, but it's a front pager. I don't know if your producer is able to pull out. We can look at it. It's been a very long day for me. But definitely to the front page, Daily Post, you see it in there that Judicial Council shut down a list that they would not have anything to do with any further appointments. So as to how far or how authentic the story is, I'm not in a position to judge, but you would see that there's such a story. There's such a story. And besides, you know, when it's the council, the letter will be very clear that it's coming from the Judicial Council, okay? It's coming from the Judicial Council. This letter doesn't seem to have any attributes of a collective decision. If it is, then it will be the interest of the Judicial Service to quickly bring out a letter to dispel what do you call it, the notion that it's not the handiwork of the Judicial Council. And these stories, look, if you look at the publication in the Daily Post, that's been since morning. And so if by 11 p.m. thereabout the Judicial Service hasn't responded, then it causes a lot of worry. There's cause for concern because the Daily Post has some circulation in Ghana. So if that story is not true, I expect that there should have been what do you call it, a rebuttal long ago.
Counsel, I do appreciate your time.